Hello, good morning, and welcome to our Facebook Live. Yesterday, at a press conference at 8:30 p.m., Prime Minister Narendra Modi shocked the nation by declaring that currency notes of 500 rupees and 1,000 rupees denominations would be scrapped effective midnight, that is last night, and effectively rendering them into as worthless pieces of paper. And the 500 rupee and 1,000 rupee notes account for 80% of all of our currency in circulation by value. And today morning, we're seeing a lot of chaos and short-term panic. We're seeing huge lines at ATMs. People not able to pay their cooks, maids, and drivers.
Yeah.
Petrol stations, which the card machines are broken. People are not able to pay for CNG and petrol. The Sensex is down, 1,000 points, but it's recovering slightly now. Stocks of real estate companies are down.
Very badly, 20%. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's had a remarkable short-term ripple effect. But I mean, I think the first question is this going to curb black money? I mean, that's his aim? Modi specifically stressed that corruption, black money. This is what this is aimed at. Will it achieve its goal?
Yeah. See, it will attack black money. There's no doubt about it. It will also, partly the aim also is to neutralize a lot of fake currency which has been coming through the borders, drug money or whatever, terror money. I think what worried the government was that while overall currency in circulation grew by about 40% generally,
Yeah,
but 1,000 rupee notes actually grew more than 100%
that's true.
in recent years. So the government was generally a bit concerned as to why this is happening. Now, one doesn't know whether these are fake currencies
Yes.
coming to the market. Yeah, there are examples of that. Nepal has been a major center for generating fake currency across the border. So that is one aspect. Black money is the second aspect. If you look at the intention, it's not bad. You completely sort of one, you attack black money. As you said, 85% of the currency in circulation are 500 and 1,000 rupee denomination. Total, I think, currency in circulation about 14 lakh
40 lakh
crores. Yeah, so there will be an impact, and it will force people to come into the banking system. Banks will get more deposits. Jan Dhan Yojana, which shows that 20 crore plus accounts which are created, only about 15% are really active. And active is defined by activity in the account once in 45 days minimum. So maybe the government's intention also is to get the Jan Dhan Yojana, people coming into their accounts and start, making that a habit. So some of these aspects are well intentioned,
Yes.
but now my fear is that the manner in which this was done, it's a
Yeah.
very bold move, but the manner in which it was done could create a lot of short-term pain.
That's true.
And as you just said, for small people, India has a large number of people who work hard and they make honest money in cash in small towns, small entrepreneurs, small shopkeepers. Now, and farmers or people who live at the intersection of rural and urban. So this is a marriage season, for instance. They may be
That's true.
sort of hoarding some 2-3 lakh rupees for an upcoming marriage. So they'll all get disrupted. So there are a lot of small people, 300-400 million people, lower middle class, who are comfortable in the cash economy, and they will get disrupted because they'll be forced to come into the banking system. Now, I don't know how this affects the big businesses who also been generating huge black money.
Sure.
And the black money committee which this government created has fully investigated reports of how big guys have been over invoicing imports and billions of dollars they've taken out. I don't know how they will be targeted. My only fear is that I fear how this government will manage things in the 6 months period.
That's true. So I mean, I think one question everyone was asking was, why was this timed? Why was the announcement so hardly anybody got any prior notice? In fact, the heads of most public and private sector banks were just informed 1 hour before Modi's speech last night. They were not officially told, even though the Reserve Bank of India did alert banks to increase the circulation of 100 rupee notes and so on and so forth. And then there's the question of, for instance, our UPI interface. So if Modi is trying to push India towards a cashless society, that will only become operational in Jan 2017. So there's 3-4 months away for that. And there are US elections today. So I mean, not informing or not sort of letting us ease into the transition. Was this a good move, bad move?
Well, as you just said, the bank chiefs were informed along with the rest of the public. They also got to know of it from Mr. Modi's address. I feel that there could have been far greater preparation for this. A lot of things that Mr. Modi has done in the last 2 years, they may have been well intentioned, but the way you do it is as important as what you're doing. So I think there is I have apprehensions about how this will pan out.
Yeah.
So how do like even now in the next say 2-3 weeks there are limits on which to which people can withdraw money from ATM. So 2,000 rupees per person per week or whatever.
Yes.
So the Revenue Secretary has himself gone on record, has said that there's going to be inconvenience for 20 days. Now, in my view, it could be much more than that. It
That's
could be
true.
3 months.
I mean, in rural areas, for instance, trying to reach the ATMs there, replenishing them, it'll...
So there's a lot of problems. Now, coming to the politics of this, I think this is Prime Minister Modi's masterstroke when it comes to politics. Because a lot of political parties, UP is coming of election, Punjab, they must have been sort of preparing to spend on the campaign with 1,000 rupee, 500 rupee note. I think he has disrupted their plans. As far as he himself is concerned, he has big business houses supporting the party, and he has long-term IOUs with them. So when the UP elections come, he may the BJP as a party may end up getting the new 2,000 rupee notes.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think on that, in a sense,
That's true. Another aspect that has not yet been discussed is how much is this move going to cost us? So, for instance, if you look at it in terms of a proportion of face value, it's cheaper for us to print notes of larger value, that is 1,000 rupees and 500 rupee notes. And I think I read that one analysis, from a couple of years ago, so that it could be somewhere around 12,000 crores just to reprint the same value but in smaller currency notes. I mean, is
the cost does not. Anuj, the cost does not matter because if you print, for instance, if you printed a 10,000 rupee denomination, which is very convenient, it may cost less than say to print 500 rupees, but that cost could get more than neutralized because 10,000 rupee note is more likely to be hoarded. Just remember, we are just dealing with black money as a one-time measure by withdrawing these notes. Now, the way our economy operates, who's to know when new notes are introduced, they also will not go into the black stream.
That's true.
There is no method of ensuring that they don't go into the black stream, right? The big businesses who generate black money will generate black money. So it's a bit tricky. But I must say that these measures will definitely attack the real estate sector.
Yeah.
You saw the real estate stock prices crash by 20%.
DLF,
the DLF, the India Bulls, etc.
They're all down.
I am certain that the real estate prices will also decline. They could decline 15-20%. It will enable the middle classes probably to buy cheaper houses. However, a lot of tier 2 towns, intersection of rural, urban, people keep their savings in real estate. Farmers, in rural sector, people who provide services, small entrepreneurs in rural sector who may not be farmers. So they actually flip, they keep saving the real estate gold, and whenever they need cash, which they often do for various things like marriages, in the family or whatever, they sell real estate. And in the last 10 years, because of asset price inflation, the post big mega liquidity coming from even from globally from abroad, and India also, real estate prices have been going up and up, and these people have experience what is called a positive wealth effect. You know, people who
Yes.
invest in land, small people, right? So they have been sort of recovering cash from land. Now, if land prices fall 20%, there will be a negative wealth effect. It could be a dampener on inflation also. So that could be a positive. But equally, it could be a dampener on demand.
Right.
So I feel that consumer demand in the medium term will actually decelerate.
That's true.
That's what my sense is.
Yeah, so I mean, consumer demand will decelerate, but also this trend in housing and real estate, that's not going to go away in the short term, right? I mean,
Yeah, because a
that's
lot of
going to be there
inventory.
for some
There are
time.
30-40% excess, capacity in Delhi, in Bangalore, in whatever, Hyderabad,
Correct.
all the metros, right?
Yeah,
So they'll have to work themselves. Maybe it'll help. Though if prices fall, maybe they'll get worked out. These inventories will get sort of sold off faster.
Yes, yeah.
So it could then lead to the real estate companies now start building.
More. Yeah. I mean,
More,
so
yeah.
it's sort of double-edged.
Yeah.
That's why I mean, we've got quite a few questions from our viewers, and also I'd like to urge you to please send in your questions as we continue on this Facebook Live. So Shreya Tanisha asks, cashless society. Are we at the point where we can afford to be a cashless society right now in India? There have been a lot of reports about people in rural India who still don't have bank accounts, but
Yeah.
still, their meager savings, they're sold in, they kept in these large value notes.
Yeah.
So
We are not. I don't think we are. This government is making. I think this government is being a bit impatient, and they want to overnight move into a cashless society. It'll be very disruptive for small people, right? So the intentions are honourable, but what kind of disruption they'll face in their economic activities at the ground level is something that we have not properly researched or we've not sort of understood.
that's true.
That's one of the problems that I have with the manner in which this is being done. As a measure, it is good.
Yeah.
But have we done enough research? Have we sort of communicated to people, or understood how they conduct their businesses, why they don't go to the banks? So I think there are issues there. Yeah,
That's true, but the other side of the debate, for instance, like economist Ajit Ranade, so he sort of suggests, he's someone who's been advocating for this for the last 2-3 years, but he suggests this is sort of the kick that we need. Yes, it will cause short-term pain, but if we are to really move,
I support this move
Yeah.
in principle, but then we should also be prepared for pain in the short to medium term.
that's true. Yeah.
That's why I tweeted that Keynes, John Maynard Keynes said that in the long run we are dead. I sometimes feared we could be dead in the medium term if we don't handle this well.
We have another question from Pinto Kudre Muka. So, I think he's referring to have, the worst offenders of black money and accounted for money in India, have they already taken it away? For instance, this is not going to affect stuff in offshore
Actually,
tax havens.
this is one of my problems with the current scheme. The current scheme largely targets, smaller people, smaller entrepreneurs who keep cash under their pillows, right? The big ones, they have ways of managing this, right? So they operate at a global level. They sort of launder money, they take money out. So if they have dollar stacked outside, so they can always bring it back and convert into new currencies, right? So
That's true.
Through the stock market route. See, they operate very sophisticated routes. Like, for instance, this whole tax haven Mauritius route is used by businesses to take money out and bring back, in a very legitimate sort of way.
That's true.
So that's what I feel, that there are about 400-500 million lower middle class at the intersection of rural and urban India, what we call urban population.
Urban, yes.
So this urban, they will go through hardships, and the cash economy that they live in, they do hard work, they earn cash, they spend in cash. In that sense, they have a certain freedom from the other institutions like the tax fellows, the banks, the KYC. Now they'll all have to come into all that. It's good. Hopefully, the system will absorb them, and then if we are paying subsidies in the Jan Dhan Yojana, I'll be happy if the Jan Dhan Yojana, because of this measure, starts getting a much higher level of many more accounts in the active zone, because currently about 15% of the
More than 50, almost 20%. Yeah.
about 20% are active,
Yeah.
as defined transactions once in 45 days.
That's true.
So if this goes up to say 60-70% because of this, I would regard it as a good measure.
That's true. That's true.
So
So we've also gotten a number of questions that sort of address the same theme. How much of the black money which is in the form of cash is likely to be recovered, and how much of it is sort of going to go? We've heard reports of people buying gold, for now, 40,000 per rupees 10 gram, and the current price is only 31,000 rupees.
Yeah.
It's rising. How much of it will be funneled into gold or land or jewelry, and and more importantly, how will the government keep a track of this? I mean, that's if that's their aim.
that's a good question, because if, as you said, 85% of the currency in circulation is 1,500 rupee.
Yes.
It could be about whatever 12-13 lakh crores, right? So in what form will this all come into the banking system, or will people find ways, innovative ways of pushing them into gold and other things? Remains to be seen. I've heard reports that a lot of businesses since yesterday are discounting 1,000 rupee notes. They are buying it for widespread reports from various places, big trading centers in Gujarat.
Correct.
They're buying 1,000 rupee notes for 500, and they are retrospectively pushing it into their books, showing retrospective transactions. So this is one way of sort of pushing these notes away from the banking system.
Correct. So in that regard, so the compliance of the income tax department, corporate tax department, they have to be really on their toes. I mean, we're going to see a lot of this, post-dating of these invoices.
Predating of transactions, etc.
Yes.
So we'll see a lot of that, and let us see. I think we have to watch the real estate sector very closely.
That's true.
That, in my view, absorbs really a big chunk of the black money.
That's true.
So
Yes.
how that impacts people, their wealth, real wealth, real incomes, and their consumption, patterns. So we'll have to see all that.
Correct. So now, I mean, let's come to the topic of new notes. So now, the 2,000 rupee note and the 500 rupee note, they will be issued soon. I know we've started hearing some reports that this process has been going on for the last 3 months, and they've already been printed, from printing presses in Mysore and so on and so forth. And today morning, the financial secretary announced that the new notes would start being put into ATMs from November 11th onwards. So some people have asked, what is the point of banning these new notes, banning these old notes, 500 rupee notes, 1,000 rupee notes, and bringing in the 2,000 rupee note? Doesn't that circumvent the whole process? What was the rationale here for bringing these new notes in the first place at all?
You're saying, basically, you're suggesting that the new notes should have been available immediately, and not.
No. I mean, if they were, for instance, available after January, right?
Yeah.
So December 31st is the last day. So if these new notes are available after that, that would not, sort of circumvent the process. Why are they issuing it from next week onwards, for instance?
Why aren't they issuing from next week?
Yeah, no. Why are they? They are. So from November 11th. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of, you're right. In terms of procedures, they could have been a little more. The managing of this whole thing could have been a little more orderly. I mean, I take your point. There are various apprehensions, and what you said was one of them. So I guess, see, what the government needs to now do is to ensure that people have a smooth transition from what they have, 500,000 rupee notes to 2,000 and the new 500. Now, let's see how they do it, because the Revenue Secretary says, yesterday he suggested, which kind of, to me, it was a big surprise. He says a person could, if he has, suppose you have 50 lakh rupees in 1,500 rupee denomination, you could have several third-party fronts to go to banks and deposit on your behalf, but in their name. So, in my view, that amounts to kind of it's like an amnesty scheme, right?
Correct.
You're legitimizing black money, and you're sort of bringing it on stream into the mainstream without paying tax. Maybe the government wants to encourage that. I don't know.
So it's kind of a tax amnesty scheme, but in another name.
Another name, yeah.
So we have a couple of questions from our readers again. Siddhant Rakshit asks, what will happen if people just start stocking up on 100 rupees denominations, for instance. So, but they still hoard that money and they still use it for nefarious purposes.
See, it's an interesting question, because in the short run, like political parties will stock up 100 rupee notes. That's why I tweeted that that UP campaign is starting, right?
Yes.
Punjab will also hoard up. So it'll be interesting to see which political party has the biggest 100 rupee hoard. So it's there is incentive to stock up 100 rupee notes, at this time.
That's true. Coming to the political angle of it, Mohammed S.J. Mahid asks, is this a move to checkmate the political opponents of the BJP? With the BJP now.
See, it could be it's a collateral gain for Mr. Modi.
Yes.
He may not have done it with the sole idea of checkmating political opponents, but the fact is that the BJP is going into a very critical elections in UP. Punjab, it's almost certain that Akali Dal BJP not doing well. So they are going to a series of elections which will also determine Modi's own standing within the party, right? So in a sense, since Modi is in power and he's prime minister and he has his own equation with big business houses, which Modi has a certain comfort level, a certain IOUs from various business houses which will fund his party. But these other smaller regional parties, they depend on the cash economy more, right? The local money lender, etc. So chit funds, etc.
That's true.
So they will be in trouble. So in that sense, clearly BJP has an advantage when it comes to funding politics. So that's let's see how that pans out.
Yeah. Sagar Vishnoy, another one of our readers, asks, this move is good. It's very appreciable. But now with 500 rupee notes will be reintroduced, 2,000 rupee notes will be reintroduced. Won't we have the same situation 4 years down the road if we don't, root out black money at its source? How it's being produced.
It's a very important question, and this is something former Planning Commission member has pointed out in the Wire, in his comments in the Wire. Abhijit Sen, Professor Abhijit Sen. This is a one-time cleanup, right?
Yeah.
It's a bit like you wipe your house clean, and but then unless you make arrangements to prevent the next dust storm, seal the house and ensure that your house is not sort of flooded with dust. The same situation could occur. If you don't structurally address the black money issue,
yes,
you could 2,000 rupee notes could be the next. Maybe after 10 years, you come up with a scheme to suck out 2,000 rupee notes.
Yeah, and I think other countries are also considering this, right? So we have a couple of questions on that. So earlier this year, the European Central Bank announced that they were going to investigate the 500 euro note. They wanted to remove that. So this is also sort of a global trend, even, right? So Modi is not, and India is not only alone on this. Worldwide, that is sort of.
See, in a sense, in a technical sense, there is no quarrel with this move. It amounts to cleaning up.
Yeah.
Right. So you sort of a lot of fake currency, as I said, suspicion that 1,000 rupee notes, their circulation has grown by 100%, much more than the average growth of other currency notes. So there is a suspicion that Nepal, Pakistan, terror, drug operators may be printing fake currency. So in that sense, it's you could see it as replacement of blood.
Yeah.
The old blood which may carry infections, you replace new blood. But after that, how you look after the body, which is the economy, structurally I'm speaking, that would matter, because the same blood could get reinfected.
That's true. That's true. And also, I know we spoke about the real estate sector, but also when you look at e-commerce companies, for instance, so this cash on delivery model is something that's very widespread. and it'll take a huge beating, right? So I mean, they're not cash on delivery now is around. I think I was reading a FICCI report 2 days ago. It's around 60, 40-50%
Yeah.
almost. These things. So
You'll have to find out from Flipkart and
yeah, I mean,
others how the business getting affected, because this morning I spoke to some neighborhood vegetable vendors. So they said that their sales have dropped by 50% because people are coming up with 500 rupee note. These days, if you buy vegetables for 3-4 days, you have to break a 500 rupee note, right?
exactly.
So you don't get it under 100 rupees. So people don't have large number of 100 rupee notes. So this problem, of course, will persist for a while. As the Revenue Secretary himself said, it'll take 20 days. But I think that's a conservative estimate. I think it'll take about 2 months, 3 months to for this problem to ease. But the cash economy, the pain of bringing the cash economy, especially in the rural tier 2 towns, into the banking system, I think will take longer, and it will definitely hurt consumer demand, discretionary consumption. It'll hurt.
That's true.
And at this stage of the economy, where we are still flattish, there's no sign of a robust recovery. I don't know how the economy will behave. And to add to that, I think Mr. Modi could not anticipate Trump winning the elections. And Trump, if he raises tariffs as per his manifesto, 45% to China, import tariff China, and Chinese GDP goes down, there are many headwinds, global, and they're combining. And today's stock market fall is a combination of Trump's victory, which is why IT stocks have fallen. Otherwise, IT stocks deal with checks, right?
Correct.
They don't deal in cash. The real estate crashed, sector crashed, the stocks crashed because of our local announcement, 1,000 rupee, 500 rupee note withdrawal. The IT sector went down because of Trump winning. It's been a kind of potent combination this morning.
That's true. That's true. Okay. Yeah. So I think that's what we currently have. But I think what we're learning is that so it's just the fine details still definitely need to be worked out, right? I mean, that's
it's the devil could be, as they say, in the details. So, as I said, it's very important to the way you implement these schemes, and these are very complex things, right? As important as the whole idea, which is of course is welcome, which everybody is welcome there.
That's true. That's true. So we have some more questions from our readers. Samudra Gupta asks, are we going to see the RBI reduce bank rates, for instance, in the short term, to deal with any liquidity issues or any deflation?
It's an interesting question, because if indeed a lot more money flows into the banking system and banks get more liquidity, it will be easier for the banks to actually reduce interest rates, and if inflation gets dampened, and I believe inflation will get dampened, because the moment real estate prices in the country across the board go down about 15-20%, you will see the effect on inflation, generalized inflation, because I think asset prices do have an impact on inflation, commodity inflation. So if inflation goes down to say 4%, 3.5%, 4%, which it could in the medium term, I think we could see RBI. I have no doubt that RBI will cut interest rates much more sharply. That could be a turnaround. This thing for the economy, that factor could actually turn the economy around.
That's true. Shreya Tanisha asks, is this going to take place beside wide-scale bankings, wide-scale campaigns to push rural banking, for instance? So I know Prime Minister Modi has the Jan Dhan Yojana initiative, which is been quite fantastic on the ground, but still the reality is that estimates say 200-300 million people are still unbanked.
Yeah. In fact, in rural India, about 40% are unbanked, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think official figures somewhere between 200-300 million. It's probably quite a bit higher than that. So I mean, are we going to see greater emphasis on things like Aadhaar being pushed?
In fact, this
easier
is
KYC
in a way this is linked to the Jan Dhan Yojana, Aadhaar. I think this government wants more and more people, rural people, to actually come into the formal banking system, and I I have a feeling that they'll make it easy for them.
So I mean, will they lower KYC norms? For this,
Yeah,
or
they could, because
yeah.
see, once you have Aadhaar and once you have biometrics, your KYC is there.
It's
No,
true.
it's foolproof, right? So that's what they are aiming at essentially. Yeah.
That's it. Jarna Patak asks, what will be the cost for administrating this change? We've sort of answered that a bit. Will the lost steam in the economy because of depressed consumer demand and printing and administering the new notes, more ATM replenishment? Because if there are only 100 rupee notes for the meantime, you'll have to recharge them more often. Does the costs outweigh the benefits?
This is what my worry also is. Jharna, you also reflect my anxieties. If you don't manage this well, and if in the next 6 months, if it takes if consumer demand, consumer sentiment goes down as a result of a lot of cash getting sucked out of small people, small lower middle class, small entrepreneurs, in the rural sector, then the overall economic growth could dampen for a while. And Mr. Modi is about to complete now his 3 years. And we've not seen GDP really pick up in these 3 years. It's if you go by the old methodology, we are still languishing at about 5.5 to 6%. In fact, GDP growth was 7.5% in 14, 15, 16 actually came down. This year also, if you see the quarterly GDP figures, 7.1%. So I fear that the timing of this measure could create more negative sentiment in the short to medium term. That is, I describe that short to medium would be about 1 year. Maybe structurally things would pick up by say 2018.
But will that be?
But then by 2018, we would be very close to
the next general election.
General election. So I don't know whether this government will be able to reap the this benefit of a structural recovery.
Yes. In fact, one of our readers has asked this same question. Sudesh has pointed out that when 2019 comes around, will the citizens of India remember all the inconveniences? I mean, of course, for individuals it will abate. Small businesses will be likely crippled for even a longer time. So when it comes back to 2018, will they remember the inconveniences, or will they remember that this is one of the strongest moves done to clamp down on black money? I guess that's the larger question for Modi.
For that, Anuj, I would just go back to history. The Vajpayee regime, NDA regime, had 8% plus growth in the last year of the tenure, and in the first 3-4 years, they were about 5.5%. And in that instance, people remembered the bad days more than the good times which had begun, in the last 1 year of Vajpayee regime. They lost the elections there.
That's true. So that's probably, don't know if that's an omen, but I think that's sort of a good point to end the discussion. So we will, thanks for joining us for the Facebook Live, and hopefully we will have more details, in the coming weeks to see how, India grapples with this issue, and as more details generally come out towards us. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.